Joining us now is U.S. House Majority Leader, Virginia, Representative Eric Cantor. Mr. Majority Leader, thank you so much for your time and for joining the John Frederick Show today.
John, it's great to be on. Good morning.
Congressman, a lot happening. Why don't we start with Obama's, what we're calling here on the show, his relentless war on coal. This week, Virginia-based energy company Alpha Natural Resources announced it's going to shut down a total of 8 mines, 3 in the Commonwealth. This is going to cost us over 1,200 jobs. Their CEO, Kevin Crutchfield, said that his decision was made as a direct result of the hostile energy policy and the plethora of regulations coming out of the Obama administration. And he's simply saying he can't compete.
Well, there's no question. There is just a hostility on the part of this administration toward the coal industry, and you've seen the results. And there's actually more job losses than could ever have been imagined in this industry. And as you suggest, John, we are facing unemployment that has been a sustained unemployment over 8% for 40-some months now. And that's why today on the House floor, we're going to pass a bill that attempts to end this war on coal so we can get people back to work, so we can promote American jobs, and frankly, so we can continue to try and lower electricity costs for the working families of the Commonwealth and the country.
The prospects of, even if that is to be successful today, of it having any impact on the Obama administration's overall decisions. I mean, how do you see this thing permanently changing?
Well, it'll only permanently change if President Obama is defeated at the polls in November, because it's been very clear over the last 4 years that he and his administration really have a hostility towards fossil fuels in general. And if we're going to be secure here in America, if we're going to be able to compete around the world globally, we need to be able to maximize our energy production here at home. And frankly, it starts with the indigenous resources we have in the Commonwealth. It starts with natural gas. It has coal, oil, and we need to make sure that we're maximizing those sources while we attempt to find some alternative sources. But this administration clearly has indicated that is not the direction that it wants to go, which is why we're taking a stand again in the House to say we are for American job creation, we are for lowering electricity costs for working families and small business people, so we can get this economy going again and get people back to work.
Congressman, speaking of back to work, the impact of the sequester on, as it relates to 2 things, are overall legitimate military preparedness around the world, our national security, and then the number of jobs that are going to be eliminated as a result of sequester. I know that you have been one of the most prolific advocates in trying to stop it. How do you go forward now in the next 90 days and create an environment where we don't have to have all these jobs being lost in Virginia as a result of sequester?
Well, we're trying hard to make sure that we don't have and see and experience these massive defense cuts that the Obama administration, the president himself, seems to think are okay, because he has not moved to try and stop these cuts. And this massive defense cut will result in over 100,000 job loss in the Commonwealth, according to the National Association of Manufacturers. And as you suggest, the unemployment situation is unacceptable as it is. We have that to worry about. But even in a more serious and grave situation for the security of our country, there's no question that America's sense of our being a global power and leader will be put into jeopardy with these kind of cuts. This is according to the top officials at the Pentagon, and we're working real hard to try and avoid them, but we need the president to join us in solving this issue, and he just has not seemed interested in joining us in doing that. And obviously the Commonwealth is such a defense-rich heritage and plays such an active role in the defense of our country, we are going to be hit disproportionately by these defense cuts, and people are going to be out of work, And frankly, we're going to see the defense-related jobs go away, and our defense industrial base that has took us so many decades to build up so we can maintain this global position, we'll see that wither as well if we don't see the president kick into action.
Mr. Majority Leader, those of us that follow this and understand the president's MO, he's got to win Virginia. 250,000 jobs are hanging in the balance. Why do you think that President Obama is just standing on the sidelines?
It is befuddling, and it really is against all logic for him to be doing this in terms of his position as commander-in-chief. He's got his top military advisors indicating that this will drastically impact our ability to project our influence and military power across the world, which will harm the ability for us to secure our interests. Why the president is not moving on this is something that's extremely frustrating. I think demonstrates why this election is so important, because the president just failed to show the leadership that I think the country needs, the Commonwealth needs.
Do you think a potential answer is that he believes that we're better off if the military and the Department of Defense is eventually cut down by $1 trillion over the next decade?
No question, John. I think that there is a possibility that the president is just for a diminished role militarily for our country, and it may be in concert with his vision of leading from behind, as you recall his statement regarding our participation in Libya in the operation that went on there last year, or earlier this year. So it really is something that I think is not supported by most Americans. Certainly in Virginia, we're very, very concerned about it and want to see a resolution to this issue so we can avoid the defense cuts, make sure we are acting in a responsible manner at the federal level on the fiscal front, and make the necessary reductions in federal spending elsewhere so we can get on about the business of growing this country, growing this economy, putting people back to work in Hampton Roads, Richmond, and beyond. So we can make sure that America remains America.
If we could transition over to the Middle East, it now looks like beyond a doubt that the assassination of our ambassador and 3 of his aides and the violence that went on there was planned. Has our policy in the Middle East been a failure, and how would Majority Leader Cantor change it if he could?
So there's no question that the allies that we have in the region, especially Israel, as well as the Arab governments who rely on America as a strong symbol of strength and advocate for freedom and a protector for that, there's no question that these countries are looking for leadership, and they just have not seen that leadership.
Congressman, final question. You had the opportunity to meet with the Joint Chiefs of Staff. What came out of that meeting?
Yes, I mean, I did have an opportunity to meet with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and there's no question that he has a big concern about the impact of sequestration on our defense capabilities, and suggests perhaps that we will need to rethink our role globally if such cuts go into effect. And I take from that, John, that there's no question it will affect our ability to lead. And this is the question and the challenge that we have in the Middle East, especially right now, a region that is in such turmoil, a region that cries out for leadership, strong principled leadership that reflects our values and will be there to help those seeking freedom and standing up for the things that we believe in, and human rights and human progress and the right to free speech and the rights of minorities and women. We need to be able to project that kind of influence, or else there will be no other power to do so. And it's a real question of America's role in the world, and it underscores the importance of this election, because our allies and, frankly, our foes in that region are all asking themselves, where is America right now when we need a strong America?
Congressman, we're out of time. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to having you back on the show. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, John.